Welcome to the National Initiative for Cybersecurity Education podcast. I'm Dan Manson, and I'm honored as my guest today to have someone who's doing something really cool, and he is starting to do it with competitions. Mr. Zach Hill. Zach, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Dan, for having me here. I really appreciate it.
So, Zach, we met in an esports arena, and we saw a cyber competition in an esports arena. That was the first experience for both of us. So I think we're always going to have a bond there when we saw what could be the future of where competitions can go. But let's go back to how you got started. Tell me about yourself, how you became involved in IT, and how you started to go down this road.
Sure, yeah. So again, my name is Zach Hill, and my start, and I'll kind of get to obviously where I'm at now, but my start in IT is about 17 years ago or so, starting out in a school district, doing, minimal kind of help desk type of roles and things like that. And from there, my career really evolved into doing different consulting and other type of like technician roles and things like that. Up until about, 3 years ago, I started working for a hospital, and I really started diving deeper into the security side of things, which is more of like mobile device management and policies and things like that. And that's kind of been the extent of my security experience, but that's always been my passion. It's always something that I've really wanted to pursue and get into more. So even though mobile device management and policies isn't too much into the security realm, it's been something that I've really enjoyed and, really happy that I had that opportunity. And, kind of with that, the last 4 years, I started a YouTube channel called IT Career Questions. And the whole purpose of starting that was to really help people who are looking to get into the field. There was a video that I put out that was, things to know before getting into IT. And it was the first video that I did where I really talked about just different things that people should consider if they're looking at IT as a career. And that video kind of really took off, and it really opened up my eyes to the fact that there's not a lot of people out on the internet in general who are, advocating for IT careers, as a whole. Really, I'm trying to help anybody and everybody who might consider IT as a career or hasn't really thought about it as a career, but it could definitely be something that really would be beneficial for them. So I've become this very large voice in the community there for helping people. And the past year and a half or so, I've really started to push more into security, because I know that you're aware, I'm aware that we need more people who are in the security field, and that's something that I'm very passionate about. So that's something that I've been talking much more about on my channel, and I've been doing a lot of training on my end and learning, so that if anything were to ever happen with YouTube, if it fell off the face of the earth tomorrow, that I could land myself in a security role, because that's where I would ultimately like to be.
It's great to hear that you have a rich IT background and have come to appreciate security. I think one of the challenges we have in this field is sometimes there's a gap between those that are dealing with the day-to-day IT and trying to understand that security is becoming more important. When you were in IT, did you find yourself torn sometimes between just making sure that the technology was working versus knowing that it was secure?
Yeah, the last few years have definitely been this kind of like roller coaster back and forth type of, here's what our policy says currently, and here's what our policy really should say in regards to security and things like that. And it actually caused kind of a lot of problems in my role at the hospital that I was working at, because I was so vocal about security policies and the way that our security should be handled there. And I kind of got ignored or pushed aside a lot, and that was very frustrating. But that really opened up my eyes then at that time, seeing it and dealing with it firsthand, and then kind of doing my research and then hearing from people on YouTube that there are not a lot of environments out there, a lot of businesses and organizations that actually have a dedicated security team. And for me, that's really upsetting, especially in a hospital environment. And I really feel as though, the industry needs to start moving that way very quickly,
What do
because
you think is holding it back? Because I think that a lot of organizations know that they can't exist, they can't perform their business without IT, but is it a harder sell to invest in something that's kind of preventative versus something that you know you need to run the business?
yeah, I mean, as far as how I see it, you have your VPs and things like that who just don't necessarily take it as a must have. Just from my experience and of course dealing and talking with many people, IT departments as a whole, a lot of businesses don't really favor them very well. So for an IT department to say to an organization, hey, we really need to invest more in security, they want to know why, and they want you to have every single reason listed out, and here's the value in it for our organization. And being in an IT team, you can give them every single answer that's definitely as accurate and as true as possible, but they don't see it as a value because nothing's happened to them yet, and that's
Or
always
something
like a
happened and they
reoccurring
don't know
theme.
it yet. I've heard there are two types of organizations, ones that have been breached and ones that don't know it yet.
Right, exactly. And it's really unfortunate, and it's so frustrating seeing that. Again, especially coming from a hospital environment and how critical and important patient data is. It's they say, yeah, no, nothing's happened yet. We're secure because nothing's happened yet, and I'm so sick of hearing that nothing has happened yet, so we're okay. And that's not the way to look at it. It's not a good state, I think, that IT has right now with the security field, and it's growing, it's getting better, which is great to hear. But I still think there's so many different organizations out there that aren't getting to that point yet, and it might take a hack or some type of breach before they really take it seriously.
Let's talk about your channel because I think it's really cool what you're doing with it. You're right, there isn't much out there. I think there are a lot of people that think about IT, but it's if you're not comfortable with using IT or programming or running a network, it seems like, oh, I can never do that. But in your channel, you're building a bridge. Tell the audience what your goal is with the channel.
The goal from the very start has always been to help people. That's my passion. That's my purpose in life, is to help people. And I'm lucky enough that I can use technology as my bridge to help people. But I want people to be aware that it's not as hard as it seems. It's not as difficult or as scary as it seems. And I'd really like to advocate for people who are really intimidated about IT, because we need people with different mindsets from all over. And you don't necessarily have to have that IT mindset. You could have some type of mindset where you just do critical thinking very well, and that's something that an organization could benefit in their IT department. So I think it's more of, what's your personality and what else do you bring to the table, because we can train you how to learn the different technologies. And that's really important on my end, is really trying to push that and get people to understand that. Because I don't want people to be intimidated by it, and we need people. So I'm really trying to open up people's eyes to the fact that you can do it, and anybody can do it. And all it takes is, here's a few steps that you can do, whether it's a certification path, or you're going for a degree, or you're trying to get experience. I'm going to help you understand what some of these different paths entail for you. And
Do you have a few success stories? Do you have a few examples of those that you started the conversation with through the channel, and you've been able to follow up on how they're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually kind of funny that you bring that up, because Saturday night I just did a live stream where I interviewed this gentleman who has been viewing my channel for the last 3 years. And I did a one-on-one interview with him. It was just him and I. He wanted to talk to me directly, and he's like, what do I do? How can I get into IT? He has no experience. He has no degrees, no certifications. And I said, well, work your way towards those certifications, build your own home labs and things like that. And that's what he did. He started studying and he started building his home labs, and he made a huge jump in his life where he moved about 2 hours away from where he lived to be in more of an area that had a better population of IT jobs. And he took that leap of faith, and he landed a job for a like a hotel organization with no prior experience, no degree, no certification yet. He actually just got his first certification Saturday. And all he did was thank me. And it's so crazy for me to hear that. He's like, you were the biggest help that I've ever had in my life trying to figure out what path I need to take. And the fact that you encouraged me to do, these different steps, it helped me. I'm working in IT, and I love every second of it. That's so crazy for me to hear. And I love knowing the fact that, he landed that job because he has a great personality and he wanted to learn. And I told him, if you ever land an interview, it was just very possible with, none of the experience and degrees and things like that. Make sure you emphasize how interested you are in the field and how much you want to learn and the things that you're doing to learn on your own. And that's what got him the job. Mm-hmm. And obviously I'm super proud of him, but there's more stories like that. People come back and comment on some of my videos and they say, hey, I've been watching you for the last couple of years and I just landed my first job thanks to, one of your videos. And it's overwhelming for me to hear, but I'm very happy that I'm able to help people.
And you're building an audience now. I think we were chatting during the esports event that you really have gone up in terms of your number of subscribers and viewers.
Yeah, so I quit my full-time job at the hospital at the end of January. So February 1st was my first day as a full-time YouTuber. And since then, I've basically doubled everything that I was doing at that time. So it's great to see. I'm glad that I'm reaching more people and helping them. And, people would leave comments pretty much every day saying thank you. And that's what drives me to continue doing what I'm doing. And there's lots of exciting things coming for my channel, which I'm really happy about.
Do you have conversations with employers, with people in industry, and do they like to give advice?
Yeah. So part of what I always try to do is get other people who are in the field on my channel to do an interview and share their advice, share their stories. How did you get into IT? What advice would you have for somebody that's looking to get into the field? And I think that's always extremely beneficial. I could talk all day in front of a camera and tell you what I think about getting into the field, but I'm one person. So let me bring in other experts and other people who have experience in this field, and let me have them share their advice with you and their stories that might encourage you. And that's very important to the growth of my channel and what I'm doing.
Very cool. Let's transition over to the competition area. How did you find out about the competition that you streamed at the esports arena? What was your initiation to start that relationship?
So it was March, I believe. March of this past year, I went down to InfoSec World in Orlando, Florida, and I was walking the vendor floor, and I came across this booth that said they had some type of big banner up there that said like gamified training or gamified like learning, and it caught me because I was like, what's that? I don't understand. I've never seen anything like that. So I stopped at the booth and I said, can you tell me about what you guys are doing? And they went into the platform and ran me through it real quick on what they're kind of doing. And it's gamified cybersecurity training, essentially. And it absolutely blew me away. And, the company is Circadence and their platform is Project Aries. The most amazing thing I've ever seen in my entire life, hands down. And I initially...
What made it amazing to you? What was it that you saw that you hadn't seen before?
The fact that a company took essentially their learning platform and made it into a game, that blew me away. I mean, I haven't seen that. I have not seen it, put together in that way. And the initial way that they described it was, this is the Call of Duty of cybersecurity training. And I, looked at it and I said, wow, you guys are right. Like, this is amazing.
And you played Call of Duty.
Yeah, I've played Call of Duty a long time ago. Long
So
time ago.
it to me it's a no-brainer to take something like a video game or something like a sport and try and use that to learn. But there aren't a lot of organizations that have pulled it off. So you
Right.
saw it and you started talking with them, and then you found out they were going to do an event. Did they tell you that they were planning to actually do this in an arena?
No, this that came about, months after I found out about the competition. I think about a month or a month and a half before it happened. Maybe it's 2 months. I think it was like really quick that I kind of found out about it, and we had made arrangements. But from that initial meeting or discovery of Circadence at InfoSec World, I said I have to do something with you guys. Like you have no idea how huge your platform is and how much it is going to affect you know the IT industry in general. Like this is groundbreaking right here. And it's funny because one of the first questions I asked was how many kids do you guys have who are in this platform? And I was surprised that they said they have a lot of different school districts who actually utilize Project Aries for their learning. And they said they have like 10, 12, 13, 14-year-old kids who are in this platform learning. And that was the most amazing thing that I've ever heard. And but going to the arena, the entire time from March to July, I was like, we have to do something together. Please, let's figure something out. And then that opportunity came up, and they said, hey, we're going to do an event, an esports event, at the esports arena in Las Vegas there. We want to have you come there and stream it for us. And I said, absolutely, 100%. That I would love to do that.
So did you have a picture of what you thought you were going to see in the arena, and did it? It was basically the first time it's been done in an arena, and so I think we were all new at trying to understand what it was going to be like and having it done. But you saw students there, you saw professionals there. What did you like, and what did you wish you could see more of?
I want to see more people who want to participate in this. And the whole reason why I don't think there weren't a lot of people is because they don't know about it. And that's where I want to really help become the voice of that, via YouTube and introduce more people to it. But as far as what I liked about it, it was just amazing to see people on stage competing against each other via a game that is cybersecurity. They're doing like pen testing up on stage, and they're competing against each other. And it's like, that's something that I don't think I've ever could have imagined happening, to be quite honest with you. So the fact that that's starting to happen, I could see that continuously happening. I mean, how cool would it be to see other hackers and things like that get up on stage and compete against each other to show each other who's the best of the best, essentially, that is cool, because I already know how big esports are in general. Like, I pay attention. I may not frequently watch some of the different esports events, but I know how huge of an industry that is. I mean, Twitch is just enormous when it comes to, people streaming different games, and then the different type of large events that happen where they are competing against each other. Those are huge.
I,
So I want to see something like Project Aries become this, essentially the king of esports and cybersecurity.
I've been involved with cybersecurity competitions for over 10 years. I've been going to as many as I can. I've helped run them, middle school, high school, college. And I've always wanted it to become spectator friendly. But it really is hard to take something that was never designed to be friendly for people to watch. It's, if you're playing, you get into it, but if you're watching it, all you're seeing is people hunched over laptops. And so
Right.
I have wanted it, but I haven't been able to see that it could happen until more recently. And I wonder, do you think that if they keep developing in an arena format, it can get to the point where you could gain an audience as well as an audience of people viewing as well as an audience of people playing.
Yeah, I definitely believe so. I think people love competition. They love watching any type of competition. Anytime I think you throw that word in there, people are interested because they want to see people go, head to head against each other, and they want to see who's going to be victorious and things like that. I definitely think that more people will be interested in watching it and seeing what is happening, then get more interested in actually doing it themselves. That's what I want to see. That's what I hope to see.
Right.
And I really think that can happen.
For someone who loves a sport, they love to play, but they also appreciate watching someone who can play. For
Right.
gamers, it's amazing the audience, the online audience you get for a Major League Gaming tournament. I wonder if we could ever start going down that path where you not only play, but you appreciate how others can play. What was some of the feedback when you were streaming the event, the comments that you were getting in chat? I think you did have a lively chat session going there.
Yeah, everybody was. I think I had a lot of questions like, "What is this?" Because people were kind of unfamiliar with it a little bit. I had a lot of people who were in the chat that did know what the platform was, but a lot of people who didn't. And everybody, I think, as a whole, was really interested. And when the chat was happening, there's a lot of people just talking back and forth about what was going on, which was really cool to see. But everybody was engaged in it. Everybody wanted to know what was happening and who was winning, and things like that. They were really trying to figure out who to root for, and that was really cool to see.
If you're going to be back in the arena next year for an event like this, what would you want to do with the audience that you didn't do the first time out?
Well, with the live audience, I would really like to get more people kind of interviewed during the competition. I'd really like to talk to them and see what they think about what's going on, as well as getting more people just to engage on the live chat and things like that. And I definitely think there's from the last time, there's so much room for improvement, and you kind of see like where those areas are and maybe the things that you've done wrong and things like that. But I think as a whole, getting more interaction would be really, really important. And I think bringing other people on with me, kind of talking about what's going on, would be really helpful.
A reason
also,
video games work is the casters. Could we ever have casters for what you saw in that arena?
Yeah, I believe so. I do.
Would you be willing to try your hand at being a caster?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I'm trying to learn more about the platform and just the cybersecurity side of what they're actually doing in it. The different pen testing techniques and discovery techniques, and I want to be able to understand everything that they're doing so that I can speak more clearly on what's happening. That was where I lacked for sure in our live stream the last time here. And I want to be prepared next time. I want to be more prepared.
Well, I really am looking forward to having an opportunity to be back in the arena with you. I'm excited to see where you're going with your channel, because I think if you can start adding more of security careers to the IT channels, it's just going to get better and better. And if you can start leading the way for showing how a competition can be broadcast, you're really onto something.
Yeah, definitely.
Zach, thank you so much for being on the podcast today, and I look forward to having the opportunity to work with you in the future.
Yeah, I hope to have you on my channel very, very soon. Get you on for an interview, and you can share your story with my audience as well. Thank you very, very much for having me on here.
Thank you, Zach. This has been the National Initiative for Cybersecurity Education podcast.